Human happiness comes not from infrequent pieces of good fortune, but from the small improvements to daily life, says Benjamin Franklin. According to the Japanese concept of Kodawari, it is important in life to have commitment or insistence. In Japanese culture, Kodawari is a personal standard to which the individual adheres in a steadfast manner. It is often, though not always, used in reference to a level of quality or professionalism to which the individual holds. Kodawari is an attitude maintained throughout one's life, constituting central element of ikigai. Kodawari is personal in nature, and it is a manifestation of a pride in what one does. Great Learning of Ikigai says, Kodawari is an approach whereby you take extraordinary care of very small details. Out of the 5 pillars of Ikigai, Kodawari is the first pillar that says to start small, without necessarily justifying the effort for any grandiose schemes. To understand the true meaning of Kodawari, let's take an example of the famous Japanese ramen noodles. Here, Japan has shown great skill in transforming something imported from abroad into something close to perfection. This type of noodle originated in China, but once it reached Japan, there was an explosion in the kinds of ramen noodles produced. Depending on the flavor of the soup, how the noodle is prepared, and the choice of ingredients, there is now a huge variety. One of the most astute cinematic observers of Japanese society, Juzo Itami, paid humorous tribute to the Kodawari exhibited in ramen noodles in his film Tampopo, which showcases every aspect of ramen making, such as the concoction of soup, kneading of the noodles, and the number and proportions of toppings required is described. In addition, the customers have to learn the proper way to savor and eat ramen. This is all comically rendered in the film, but although the zeal bestowed on ramen is humorous and exaggerated, and there is much that is sheer entertainment, it is funny precisely because there is so much truth to it. Starting small and executing each step to perfection is the very ethos of ramen shop owners in Japan. It reflects the meaning and essence of Kodawari in real terms. Kodawari in itself appears to be a trait that is uncompromising and self-centered, almost to the point of excluding all give and take. Indeed, in Tampopo, the ramen shop owner is only satisfied when his customers have drunk all the soup. But in actual fact, Kodawari is ultimately all about communication. The final and personal reward for performing each of the small tasks that go into making the perfect bowl of ramen is the smile on the customer's face. The spirit of Kodawari had also found in the Steve Jobs working style. Although he didn't express his ethos in so many words, when he tried to perfect the features of the iPhone, for example. In fact, one may say that Kodawari was Steve Jobs' defining characteristic. One could even say that Steve Jobs was Japanese in his Kodawari spirit. There is another example of artisanal farmers who devote all their time, efforts, and ingenuity to creating the best and tastiest produce. They get the soil right, plan and execute optimum pruning and watering, and choose the variety of produce to be planted very carefully. They go an incredible length, propelled by their strong sense of starting small. The most crucial aspect of Kodawari is that people pursue their own goals above and beyond reasonable expectations based on market forces. There is a great saying in Japanese that, if you want to heat a rock, sit on it for 100 years. If you want to succeed, you usually need to produce items of reasonable quality. However, once you reach a certain level, the incremental improvement in quality diminishes compared to the input of effort. It is like the learning curve. If you are a student At a certain point, it does not make sense to study further except in unusual circumstances, since the improvement in score is small. You are better advised to put your effort into something else. This kind of rationality is alien for people who have Kodawari. They are not satisfied with just fine ramen noodles. They will not stop the pursuit of quality with just so. Producing just fine or just so things would make you reasonably successful. However, those with Kodawari go beyond that without any apparent reason. For them, good enough is simply not good enough for them. You could even call it a creative insanity. At a certain point, a casual observer might feel that these pursuers of perfection are going over the top and that the effort is too much. Just at that moment, something miraculous happens. You realize that there is actually further depth to the quality you are pursuing. There is a breakthrough, or the production of something completely different. With the creation of a new genre of products, a brand new market emerges in which people are prepared to pay premium prices for qualities previously unimagined. The underlying philosophy of Japanese take the transient things of life seriously. The eating of a perfect mango or stately muskmelon takes only a few minutes, providing a fleeting joy. You cannot hold on to the experience. Unlike audiovisual stimuli, there is no record of what you eat, and that is how it is likely to remain for the foreseeable future. You can't take a selfie of taste. That's why Japanese are dedicated to producing things with an attention so meticulous that it verges on the ridiculous, such as the perfect fruit sold at Sembikiya or attempts to reproduce the starry bowl. Thus, ikigai derived from living up to one's Kodawari is often the engine behind these actions. If you take Kodawari in the static sense, it might sometimes appear to lead to an inflexibility of method, an emphasis on tradition, and a closing of the mind to external influences. However, Kodawari does not necessarily lead to a rejection of external influences. Quite the contrary, the Japanese have been and still are curious people. Crucially, starting small is the hallmark of youthful days. When you are young, you cannot start things in a big way. Whatever you do, it does not matter much to the world. You need to start small. And what you have in abundance is open-mindedness and curiosity, the great kickstarters devoted to one's cause. In a nutshell, Kodawari is all about an approach where you take extraordinary care of very small details and youthfulness of mind, but so is commitment and passion. Thanks for watching. Please do subscribe to our channel for more thought-provoking content.